Here with Julius McDougal, associate head coach, Georgetown, was at Eastern Kentucky, Stillman College, Kentucky State, but now off to a 6-2 start. Have the LeClaire Classic coming up this weekend. So, Julius, thanks for jumping on with me.
I appreciate you having me, Ryan.
Heck yeah. Who had the most impact on you getting into coaching?
Believe it or not, my dad. My dad played baseball for 10 years. And he really kind of developed the love of the game for me. And once I graduated college, and I was working a little bit, doing logistics for a supplier for Toyota. I just had a conversation with him about what I loved and my passion, and he kind of told me to go for it. You mentioned Kentucky State. I was actually living in Kentucky at the time, and I just reached out to every school in Kentucky 2 or 3 times, and fortunately, Kentucky State Coach Rob Henry, he responded and let me come out and volunteer and kind of get my feet wet.
You know, kind of with us trying to get more minority participation, but for you, because your dad played, like you kind of saw that growing up, like, hey, this is a viable option for me to play baseball, correct?
Yes, that was the dream of mine, the goal, right, to be playing as well, and have a career like his. But talent wise, it didn't work out that way. So unfortunately, I was able to get into coaching.
I mean, that year out in the real world probably showed you a little bit like maybe I probably don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I probably would like to get into coaching.
Yeah, it was. You hear songs in the term, living for the weekend, and it was that sort of feeling. And now obviously coaching, we don't get any weekends off, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. There isn't one day that feels like work.
Yeah. And then how did you and Edwin get connected?
Yeah. So after my second season at Stillman College, we had transitioned to NAIA from Division II, and that first year when we were Division II, we had pretty good success. We beat 5 top 25 teams, and then in that second year, we had 2 top 25 wins, and uh, Coach Thompson reached out to me and just sent me an email, just asking if I would be interested in the volunteer role at Eastern Kentucky. And I interviewed with him, and he's obviously a great person. And but just on the phone, prior to meeting him, just you could tell his vibe and his energy and what type of person, what type of man he was. And so it made it easy to leave Stillman and go to EKU and kind of get started in Division I coaching.
You two have gotten two programs going fairly quickly. I mean, how are you guys establishing that culture? Because you've done it quick. You did it quick at Eastern Kentucky. You've done it quick at Georgetown. How do you guys kind of develop that culture when you get there?
Yeah, honestly, we always preach like culture starts from the top, and so it starts with Coach T. And everyone does a great job of motivating the guys and making sure that they're focused. Every day we talk about things like mother mentality. Just because our situation here at Georgetown isn't easy, in a sense of some of the constraints we have with the field being off campus and things like that. Oh, this isn't live, is it? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I
No,
just
no,
switched
no,
my
no. We're
train of
good.
thought around.
No, and I added everything, so we're good.
Okay.
And I was going to ask you that too. What have been kind of the biggest challenges? Eastern Kentucky, Georgetown, two completely different schools. What have kind of been the challenges between both of those places?
Yeah. So EKU, I guess the biggest challenge was sometimes when we talk to a kid, they'd say EKU, where's that? What's that? Uh, so that was kind of just a small challenge in and of itself, but we were able to really sell the program, and Coach Thompson's vision and in the sense of where we thought we could be. Uh, and Georgetown is a lot different because of the academics, right? At EKU, I don't want to say we didn't worry about grades, right? But they obviously weren't emphasized as much here at Georgetown. And so the The main difference for me, right, because I believe each school has its own challenges, especially from a recruiting front. The main difference to me is just a field, having a field on campus. Our guys just have to commute for practice, but it's something that we embrace and really kind of shapes the mentality of the program.
And that helps too. Edwin's from the area, but was also at Duke, so kind of knows the lay of the land a little bit with a private school, but also the lay of the land in the DC area, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. Him, Edwin is as well as our pitching coach. Our pitching coach is from Northern Virginia, Coach Capon. So they both have a lot of strong ties to the area.
I appreciate Edwin doing that because that's a challenging pro. You guys had it rolling it at Eastern Kentucky. For him to be like, okay, I'm going to go back home to take over this program to try to get this thing turning. That's got to be gratifying for him as well.
Yes, yes, yes. It is. It is. It's honestly it was one of those things, and him and I spoke about it a little bit. Georgetown's just kind of a destination. There's not really any living room that we can't get into. Everyone's kind of heard of Georgetown, and it's just an opportunity. We feel that it's a school that can go to Omaha. I'm not saying this year, next year, hopefully, but it's a name brand program. We feel like.
I saw y'all play last year at Wake in their tournament, and you guys play with a ton of energy. How do you establish that? You don't always see kids, and kids maybe aren't always enthused to play that way. How are you guys establishing that type of culture too? Because you guys play with a ton of energy. I loved watching you guys play.
Yeah, the two things we talk about, two other things we talk about. There are only two things you can control in a game, and that's your attitude and your effort. Your attitude, your effort, and as well as your energy. I guess so. Those three things right there. Times where you'll hit the ball hard, and it'll be atom balls. There'll be times on the mound where you don't have your secondary pitches, but you can always control the energy that you bring. And so that's something that everyone preaches to the guys. Every single day. If we match the other team's energy, we feel like we have a good chance to win any ball game that we're playing.
You've had great offensive teams. You did at Eastern Kentucky, Georgetown. Is that recruiting or is that development? Because last year you broke program records for wins, home runs, total bases, win percentage, runs, RBIs, and slugging percentage. So congrats, by the way.
I appreciate that.
Is that recruiting or is that development or is it both?
Uh, I would definitely say both. I always say it always helps to have good players. Which I really believe that we have here at Georgetown. One of the things, in a sense, with our offense and development, a lot of our guys here at Georgetown, they had a year and a half where they didn't play baseball. And so that first year, they were just kind of up against it. Well, not they, we were just kind of up against it, just from, not playing standpoint. But being able to have a fall, have a preseason, and those guys really taking ownership of their career. With development, one of the things we really talk about is, you have to want it. If I have to tell you to get in the cage, you're not going to improve as a hitter. And so we've been fortunate to kind of really build a culture of, guys who want to hit. They show up early, about an hour and a half to practice every single day. They hit right after weights, and I'm sure some hit on campus at night. So it's just really something that, guys have bought into from a development standpoint of, really, really working and understanding that it's going to take 300 to 400 swings a day in order to, be who we want to be offensively.
Do you put any stipulation on them when they get there for early work? Is like, hey, just get your swings in? Are you laying out a plan for them when they get there early, or is it like, hey, just you figure out what you need to work on?
So they know what it is in a sense of our routine. We give them 5 minutes off the tee. We let them do whatever tee work they feel that they need to get them going. My big thing is just one round of high tee. I feel that that's very important. And then from there, we go into our front toss, our overhand front toss with the heavy bat. They'll do 2 rounds of that. and then one round with the light bat. And really, we're just trying to pepper the L screen every single time. And from there, we'll set up a general plan for them, whether that's 2, 3 plate hitting, breaking ball. But typically, the older guys are in there and they kind of set it up and know what it is we want and they get it going.
What's your weight difference for your heavy and your light bats?
That's a great question. So we actually don't use light bats. So we just we'll use the regular 3330, and then for a heavy bat, I don't know the exact ounces, but so the old school donuts, the round ones.
That's what we used.
We'll have those the 8 ounce ones, and we'll put those on a bat and hit with them as a weighted bat. So I guess it's just an additional 8 ounces on it.
Yeah. When you got done playing, started coaching, how long did it take you to find your voice as a coach?
I was actually very fortunate. It was in my second year of coaching. Uh, I was at Stillman College. I was an assistant at the time. And Coach Donnie Crawford, he's now the head coach at Lane College. Uh, he really freed me up to kind of work with guys and talk to them. He never gave me a sense of, hey, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. It was, hey, Julius, you have the infielders, go. And so I had to kind of develop that voice really quickly, and only being 23 years old, 24. But it was a great experience because, I was able to, I don't want to say, test things, right? But figure out what worked and what didn't work, right? What verbiage to use, what verbiage not to use. So really my second year was where I was kind of able to find my voice. And uh, I was fortunate that I did that because Coach Crawford had retired after that season. And I kind of got pushed into the head coaching role. So I was 24 as a head coach, and luckily I had that previous year where I learned, kind of what to say and what to do around guys, and I could really kind of implement and make it my own that next year.
Was it a given that you're going to be the head coach after he retired, or did you have to interview for that, or was it like, okay, you're going to be the next in line for this job?
No, no, it wasn't a given. I was actually getting my MBA at the time at the University of Alabama, uh, and working in financial aid to pay the bills. And Coach Crawford retired, and we had 3 assistants on the staff, and we all interviewed, and they brought in some outside candidates. So it wasn't a given, but I was just fortunate to have the right people in my corner who supported me, and really gave me an opportunity.
Did you play infield in college?
Yes, infield and outfield. So I went to school as a shortstop. I was in the infield for 2 years and also played center and right.
And that helps as a coach too, because you played all over the field. I did the same thing in summer ball more than during 4 year season, but it helped later on coaching because I had played so many different positions.
Yeah, and it really kind of gives you perspective, right? In the sense of what every kid is going through, defensively. Uh, like a second baseman, for instance, who's kind of throwing the ball away on double play. I understand that sometimes it's because he's nervous because he doesn't know how much time he has. The runner running up the line, the runner sliding into him, and he'll kind of rush the throw. And so I'm kind of able, to talk about it with him and really slow him down. In that sense, and even with outfielders, right, in the sense of hitting the cut, making sure we take good angles to cut the ball off in the gap. Really just able to simplify the game and kind of just talk baseball and bring hopefully a calmer understanding for them.
I still think the best outfielders are converted infielders.
Oh, 100%.
Because they understand angles a little bit more, I think. They understand prep steps. I think you can throw a guy out from the infield to the outfield. It takes them some time, catching fly balls and that. But I just think they're used to taking prep steps. I think they're used to anticipating on every pitch. I just think their anticipation is better because obviously you don't get as many balls in the outfield. I just think their anticipation is better when you put them out there.
I would agree with that 100%. I always joke that the big leagues is full of high school and college shortstops. So
You talked about using heavy bats. Was that something you were using as a player? And then as a
Uh,
young coach with heavy bats in the cage, was that something you used as a player?
yes, yes. My dad actually introduced that to me at a young age. Swinging a heavy bat, and I was fortunate to have some success hitting in college, and uh, and
Give
so
yourself
I
more
it's
credit than
something.
that. You had good numbers in college. Hey, by the
Thank
way,
you.
your profile pic is tremendous from your senior year. Anybody that listened in and go look at Julius's profile pic from his senior year, yeah, that's a mean mug profile pic. Oh, it's beautiful. I did some digging on the internet.
Yeah, so the heavy bat was just something that I implemented, just with our guys' routine, just because I felt that it one develops bat speed, gets guys loose, but really also right there's a different barrel awareness, and so it gives them something else to really think about. If your hands drop or you don't take a proper path to the ball just because of the weighted in, you'll really feel it. And feel is something that we talk about so much in our program.
I think it helps you getting your legs better too, because with the heavier object, you got to use your lower half more to be able to get the barrel through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With your newer infielders, and I don't know, I haven't checked, like, I don't know how many transfers you guys have, how many new guys, where are you kind of starting with them when they show up on campus with your new infielders and your new hitters?
Yeah. So infield wise, with young guys, we'll do a lot of footwork. They'll do a lot of ladders, just to really get their feet moving. And then from there, honestly, the biggest thing, like when we go to youth practices and things like that, is guys just don't get enough reps. And so, one of the things that we do and we really believe in is reps, and my goal is to get every infielder, 200 ground balls a day at practice, at game speed. And so, it's a finite amount of time, 30, 40 minutes, but it's a work 30, 40 minutes, where those guys really constantly have to move their feet. Obviously, right on the back 5, 10 minutes, they're tired. So they really consciously now have to move their feet. So defensively, reps is big for us from a development standpoint. And then hitting wise, the biggest thing for us is dialing in the approach. One of the things that we like to believe, right, is the guys that we recruited are good hitters, right? So when they show up, why are we trying to change the swing? And so we just feel that if we can dial the approach in, right, that the swing will take care of itself. And so approach is just mainly what we talk about.
You talked about youth camp. You guys run a huge youth camp in the fall, correct? With inner city
Yes.
kids, because I tried to get you guys to come up to the Phillies clinic, but you guys were running your own clinic. But I think I'm going to come up next fall. Actually, Edwin and I have talked. I
Oh,
think I'm
that'd
going
be
to come
great.
up. Yeah. So just talk about that a little bit. I mean, that's a huge piece of giving back to your guys' community.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably one of the more enjoyable days in the fall. Where guys get to, we get to see our players, outside of baseball, which isn't often, and we get to see them interact with kids who see them right as big leaguers, right? It's just fun to see the smiles on kids' faces. Just the fun that they have running around. Some of the kids out there, it's their first time, being around baseball, being involved, and so us being able to give them that first good experience, I think I think it's pretty important, right? We always joke that everyone remembers their first baseball memory, or their first baseball experience, and so hopefully, we're able to create a lot of positive memories and really get the community involved in baseball.
Did you have many camps available when you were growing up?
No, no. I I honestly don't remember. I don't really remember camps being a thing. Now, growing up in Michigan, it could have just been we're indoors all the time, so uh, you know we didn't really think about it. But we didn't have these camps growing up.
How much was your dad involved with your development? I mean, were you doing a bunch with him? I know he was still playing, so were you doing a lot with him?
Yes, yes. So he retired when I was maybe 2 years old, really young. And so he was there pretty much every step of the way. Hitting in the backyard. He tried to make me a switch hitter like him. It didn't really work out. I wasn't as good at it. But after every game, even in college, I'd call him and we'd go over every at bat, pitch by pitch. So he was very, very vital to just to my development as a player and really my love of the game. And believe it or not, my mom might actually be a little more, at least her side of the family, might be a little more baseball than my dad's side. My mom's brother played pro ball. My mom's uncle, so I guess my great uncle, uh, he's in the College Baseball Coaching Hall of Fame, Rob Brady. So it baseball is always kind of I guess flowed through my blood.
Is there anything you're doing different now than when you first started? I mean, it could be a drill, it could be an approach, how you're handling players, any of that stuff that obviously evolve over time as a coach. But what are you doing different now than when you first started?
Honestly, the approach is the biggest difference. When I first started coaching, I knew what I did as a hitter, but I didn't really have an approach, right? And I wasn't able to put it into words. But when Coach Thompson hired me at EKU, uh, in that first year, working with Coach Hanson, who's now at Virginia Tech, we're really able to come up with an approach and put it into words, which is really simple. We try to make everything simple. Stay up the middle, hunt the belt, and so really just getting guys to take those tough pitches at the knees, which is something that I never talked about in my earlier days of coaching. So just that approach philosophy is probably the biggest difference offensively. And then defensively, when I first started, it was a lot of drills, a lot of drill work. And then kind of as I evolved and saw just more practices and just how guys moved, I just kind of transitioned that into what I believed was reps were more important.
In season right now, and by the way, I appreciate you because you guys had a doubleheader yesterday, and so I don't know when you guys got back home last night, and I
Around
know there's
1:30.
family stuff going on and all that, so I do appreciate you jumping on with
Oh, of
me.
course.
But now that we're kind of in season, what changes for you, if anything, with maybe some BP stuff, and then I want to kind of get in how you're handling some of the other stuff with the in season.
Yeah. So the biggest difference from I'd say this year's team and last year's team from a BP standpoint. Last year, one of the things we did was really push the turtle up on guys. They could still finish their follow through swing, but the front of the turtle really hung over the field, so they had to really work on a line. And we moved the L screen up and threw really firm. So each coach only threw one round of BP a day, just to save our arms. But this year, it's we obviously started doing that. The same thing that we were doing. But this year it seems to be we'll probably have more machine BP. So even for games, we'll have the hack attack out, and guys will be hitting off that.
Yep. That was Arkansas. They had a flap on their turtle that would flip down. So it like forced their hit. They could not elevate the ball. And that's the first time. And I don't think I've seen it since. But obviously they were forcing their guys to stay on top and drive through the ball. So that flap, you got instant feedback on that. A lot of balls were going up and it would hit that
Oh
flap.
yeah.
So guys
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
see it travel. And I've never seen it since. So shout out to Coach Van Horn for having that. But I thought it was a great idea with that of having a flap just to keep them down. You know,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and really, right when
especially
you
in
get that
BP.
buy-in,
In BP.
yeah, yeah, and we tell them all the time, line drives and BP, that's what turns into home runs in the game. So if we can be disciplined and work on a line, right, wrong, or indifferent, the coach is trying to hit your barrel. So we're not impressed with BP home runs, and we really just try to shoot the gaps. And guys who are able to do that, they tend to have a lot of success.
Do your BP rounds change or keep them pretty consistent throughout the year?
They're pretty consistent throughout the year. We'll have 4 rounds. All of them guys are just working to stay up the middle. So in between second and short, all the way out, expanding to the gaps, really working just to kind of stay in between those lines. And that'll be all 4 rounds.
Perfect. How are you handling nutrition for them on the road?
We have an ops person. We have a new ops person, and she handles a lot of it behind the scenes for us. Her, Coach Thompson, and one of our student managers, Willie Baker, they all work together to make sure that guys have their meals for the weekend, and select the meals needed in order to perform. And so we'll do pastas, chicken, and typically on getaway days, we'll do something easy, whether that's spaghetti or pizza.
Yeah, something quick because you got to get
Uh-huh.
back. So like today, I would assume you guys are off. You don't have a midweek game this week, so I assume you guys are off today, correct?
Correct.
Any
Correct.
sort of recommended active recovery? Or is it just like, hey, rest, or is it active recovery? What are you doing with them on an off day, or recommending for them to do on an off day?
Yeah, we recommend active recovery. They have optional times in the weight room where they can go in, stretch out, and move around. We really talk about hydration. One of the biggest things is right, just people don't drink enough water, and so hydration's big. And then fortunately, right, nutritionally, we have protein shakes available for them at any time, chocolate milks, things like that to make sure that their body's able, one, to not only maintain the weight, but be able to perform at that prime level for them.
Yeah, that's such a big piece, the protein piece to help for muscle growth and recovery and replace all those areas that you got beat up while you're playing. What are some of the best routines you've seen your players use?
And from a hitting standpoint,
Hitting or defense?
so from a hitting standpoint, the best routine uh, that I've seen from guys. We have a player named Ubaldo Lopez, and he tied the program record last year with home runs. He hit 19, but his routine, off the tee is really short. We joke, we're not trying to be tee hitting All Americans, and so he'll get in and really work on a line, and he'll beat up the L screen on front toss. And then when it's time for machine work, he has a lot of fun with it, and really gets the guys to have a lot of fun. Whether it's a ball hit the other way, he'll scream out backside, and everybody will get a kick out of it. So he's able to kind of really keep things loose for us, and keep it a light but still a positive work environment. So his routine from that standpoint, from just a cultural standpoint, is probably the best. But also, right, just in the sense of what he does. Even off the machine, he works on a line. I remember we were hitting breaking balls on the field, and really we were working on trying to beat up the oppo gap. And it was a ball that just stayed in, and he pulled it for a home run. Right, he did a good job with the pitch, but he said to himself, I got to keep my hands in and really work to go the other way. Very next pitch, he bangs one off the oppo wall. And so he really understands, what it is that he's trying to do and what it is that we're trying to do as a team and work on. And so from that standpoint, he probably has one of the better routines.
I think that's what the best competitors do. They have fun while they're competing. You're challenging drill off the machine, but he's having fun with it. But then has positive self-talk too. Like even though he hit a home run pull side, that's not what he was trying to do. But then he talks himself into what he's trying to do on his next swing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. No, he's a very mature player for sure.
So with scouting reports in season, how much info are you giving your guys? I know synergy is huge, so we have a ton of information out there. How much information are you giving your players?
Yeah, so we'll do video. We always try to find tendencies, specifically where the fastball goes. I'm a believer, pitching and hitting, you do it off number one. And so, we'll give them a lot of videos of that, show them videos of the breaking ball, as well as any other secondary pitches that he may have. And then when we, talk about the report pregame, we'll go over his velos and again, just, discuss kind of where that fastball goes, where we kind of want to sit that day offensively. And after that, we just really want to keep it simple. See ball, hit ball. If you recognize fastball out the hand, go get it.
How soon are you giving him that information to game time?
It's about they run. So our guys will run 15 minutes prior to the game, and then right after they finish running, we'll give them that report.
With the new players that are coming into your program, what would you like to see out of them that maybe they're not getting before they get to you?
Wow. Um, you know, so we've been fortunate. The young guys we brought in, they've a lot of them have been contributing right away. Even last year we had a catcher who was a freshman All-American. But the biggest thing, and I would say it's probably the biggest thing around college baseball, is just the strength component. Getting in the weight room, really, really, taking your body serious at at a young age, which is hard to do, right? At 14 to say, at 18, I need to be ready. Really getting in the weight room, and then ultimately, right, competing, right? A lot of times, and this is just for our philosophy. We'll see guys where they're working on hitting the ball hard, right, in the cage, but they're just swinging, right, and they're not working on hitting. And so, there are a lot of quote unquote cage home runs and things like that. And you talk to those guys, hey, how many home runs have you ever hit in a season? And it's never more than, I shouldn't say never, right, but it's usually never more than 10, right? And so if you don't hit more than 10 home runs in a season, chances are that ball you crushed in the cage, it's an out. And so really getting them to understand, when they're hitting in a cage, what it is that they're trying to do. For me, is probably the biggest thing offensively for young guys, understanding who they are as a hitter.
With your freshman catcher last year, did you guys know coming out of the fall that he was going to be okay? Because I think that's the hardest position for a freshman to handle is catching.
Yeah. So we knew he was good. We didn't exactly know how good, just because we hadn't played anybody different. But he was a starter from game one, not behind the plate though. We had an injury to our first baseman Christian Ficca, and so as a freshman, game one against Wake, we had him at first base. He had never played first base before. It had 2 days of ground balls. Our first baseman kind of went down, just just a freak injury, and he got out there and he was really good at first base, and he's really good behind the plate, and just really kind of as the season progressed, and he's one of those guys where you tell him something once and he's got it, and so he's at the plate, he's able to really buy into the approach and really get pitches that he wants, and ultimately he doesn't miss them, and that's kind of one of the great things about offensively. You tell him one thing once and he'll go out and do it.
Did you know that coming in out of him that he had some baseball aptitude when you recruited him?
Yes. So he actually played for a guy I played with in high school on his travel team, and so me and him had talked about a lot, and he was pounding his fist for him and saying he's the guy, and he's gonna hit for you defensively. He's good. Trust me. And he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. Everything that he said from a makeup standpoint was 100% accurate.
Yeah, coaches listening in, makeup. If you have a kid with good makeup, sell the makeup more than the skill set probably. I mean, they got to be talented,
100%.
but sell the makeup if the makeup's good. And don't lie about the makeup, coaches. Coaches listening in, don't lie about the makeup, because literally a week on campus, college coaches are going to figure out that they got lied to about the kid's makeup.
It happens quick.
Hey, for young coaches trying to get into the profession, what are some tips for them trying to get in? And again, for you as you're a shining example of a minority coach who's banged away. I mean, you don't make any money in the beginning, but you made it work. What are some tips on trying to get into the profession?
Stay persistent. Stay persistent. When I was trying to get in, I sent the same email to every coach in the state of Kentucky 3 or 4 times, right? Just hit resend, 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 and until I got a response. So really just stay persistent, right? If coaching is what you want to do, and then once you're in it, wherever you are, make that school your dream school. We all as coaches, right, have dream schools or desired places where you'd like to be growing up. If I could coach there, that'd be great. But you have to be where your feet are. And if you make that school your dream school, typically good things will happen for you.
And that's been a huge emphasis for us with the diversity committee with the ABCA. And, I saw you briefly at the morning meeting there, and I think that's a good start, and hopefully we can continue to help. I think we have to clarify some things, and we also have to show, like, okay, here's the candidates, or here are people available. I don't think, 5 years ago, I don't think we were doing as much for that. So I'm proud of kind of the work that we're doing with the ABCA. Carrick Jackson's done a tremendous job. I think that's a step in the right direction. Are there some other things maybe that we can help on that end?
Just to kind of echo you, I think the diversity committee has done a very good job. Coach Jackson, Carrick, he's a really good leader. And he really puts out there what it is that's needed. I think that we're going in the right direction, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I am too. That's for me. I just think the more people that we can get involved. I think about Eric Bieniemy a lot. I mean, how many Super Bowls do the Chiefs have to win for him to get? I mean, he finally got a head coaching job, but it's like, how many Super Bowls do they need to win for this guy to get a head coaching job?
Well, he actually didn't get a head coaching job. He took the offensive coordinator job.
That's how much I don't pay attention to the NFL, because I just saw a press conference with him the other day, and I was like, oh, good, finally he got a head coaching job. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's how much I don't pay attention to the NFL, because I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw him in a press conference. I was like, okay, good, finally somebody gave him an opportunity. So that's
no, it was definitely a weird, and I don't, obviously their details I'm not privy to.
Yes.
But the only reason I guess I was familiar with it just because he, joined the Commanders, and they're right down the street. So I followed them just a little bit. But I'm a Saints guy, so.
And I think some of it too is the interview process. Some guys just don't interview well. But, Mike Rooney and I talk about this a lot, because I know everybody knows him as the voice of college baseball, and he's everywhere. That's not his real job. His real job is he hires people. But he and I talk about it all the time. If you have somebody that's really sharp in an interview process, you probably don't want to hire them, because it means they're really good at interviewing. It means they've interviewed a lot. If I'm an AD trying to hire somebody, I'm going to give somebody grace that's been at not a lot of places, that has paid their dues at the places there, and also has won, and just give them some grace in the interview process, because they may not interview well because they haven't had to do it very much.
Yeah, no, and that is kind of one of the things with Coach Thompson that he's really helped me out with. We've done mock interviews together, to really kind of practice and make sure that, from a baseball standpoint, I obviously feel like I'm, competent, but, just from an interview standpoint, to make sure that, I'm getting the correct message across that I'm trying to present. So he's been very, very helpful with that.
That was with my assistants. I told them to apply for every job they could, and if they got an interview, even if they maybe weren't interested, to do it just to go through the interview process, whether that was a phone interview or an on-campus interview. I'm like, take as many as you can get, because the more you can do that, the more comfortable you're going to be for the next time you get an opportunity to interview.
Absolutely. All
right, back to some baseball stuff. When are you guys lifting? Do you lift early morning or do you lift after?
Early mornings this year. It just kind of worked out with the schedule in a sense of the weight room and our strength coaches availability. So we'll lift in the morning, but we also practice in the morning as well. So guys will lift, then go get breakfast, and then hop on the vans and head to the field for practice.
Hey, what do you wish somebody would have told you before you got into coaching?
It's 365.
Yes. Yes. You don't get to put it down.
It is 365. That is one thing, Coach does a great job of letting us take time off in the summer. But right, recruiting never stops. And so it's a constant grind, but it's a grind that we embrace and we enjoy.
Yeah, but the best ones love it. Like we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
wired different. Like the best ones are wired different. Like they know that and they embrace that. Like, okay, this is what it is. This is what I asked for. My dad always said, like, be
100%.
careful what you wish for. My dad says it all the time. Like, be careful what you wish for, because if you get it, then you got it, and you got to go deal with it. But I think that's something that coaches that don't coach at your level don't understand. That, okay, they see, Julius is here, he's doing a great job, I want that job, but they don't realize what that job actually entails, because every job entails something completely different. They don't understand what that job actually entails.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I experienced, just that difference personally, right? Coaching at that D2 level and where really kind of your recruiting period is, at least for me, at that school, was really just the summertime, right? And it was kind of a finite time in the summer, July, so June, I was able to kind of take some time off and things like that. Whereas, here now, obviously, and I got to EKU, June hit and we hit the ground running.
Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something you thought was going to sidetrack you, but looking back now was the best thing that happened to you, or one of the best things that happened to you?
So I don't necessarily have a failed moment. I guess just a moment of somewhat uncertainty. Just leaving a full-time position, getting married, and getting a full-time position or having a full-time position, and then to take a volunteer job, at EKU was probably just kind of the biggest step of faith. But I've been fortunate where I haven't really had that fail moment yet. I don't think.
Well, and sometimes you're like, this is awful, but then you look back, 12 months or 2 years down the road, and you're like, okay, this was the right. You just never know that's a hard thing
Yeah.
with the path, but also surround yourself with good people. Like Edwin, you've surrounded yourself with a good person that has taken care of you, but also you guys win. Like that's a huge part of it too. For coaches listening, find a head coach that's going to win. How are you handling family in season?
Uh, Pretty good, pretty good. My wife, she's a teacher, and she kind of understands the life. She was a college athlete herself. She played college basketball, so she understands. Just the time that it requires. But right, for instance, days like this, we make sure to have date nights, once a week, which is typically Mondays, just because that's the easiest day, and I know I'll be home. But it's been fun. Sometimes, right, like every coach, there are challenges just because you're gone for so long. During the summer, you're of the 60 possible days, you're probably gone 40 of them. And obviously season time, traveling on the road, leaving Thursday for weekend sets and getting back, 1 a.m. on, Monday morning. But she loves it. She wasn't really a baseball person when we met, but, now she's at every game, and now she's talking to me about what the hitters need to be doing and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun.
So your date nights, you stay in house for that? You go out to dinner? What do you guys do for your date nights?
We'll mix it up. Sometimes we'll go out to dinner. Sometimes it may be something just, from a time standpoint, just as simple as a walk. Sometimes, we put a puzzle together before. So, just different things, just trying to keep it fresh. just making sure that we, continue dating each other.
Do you have any evening or morning routines that you like that are kind of go-tos for you? Like the consistent like morning routine or evening routine that you like that you go to?
Yeah, yeah. For me, kind of getting up and getting in the weight room is big for me. It's kind of during the day when it's a time that you're able to really take to yourself. A good solid hour, hour 15 minutes, and at the end, you always just feel kind of relieved mentally and physically, and just a little more relaxed. So getting up and making sure I get a workout in or is a big part of my morning routine. And I guess I get on the guys all the time about drinking water. So making sure by the time I leave the house, I'm 4 bottles in.
Yeah. So strength training, are you mixing it up? What are you doing when you're working out?
Strength training. Typically weights. I'm actually allergic to cardio, so
I am too.
uh,
A hit
it's
workout's about as close as I can get to cardio because it's a bunch of different stuff. It's
yeah. Oh yeah. And so just weights and doing a lot of the things that we did in college. Definitely not cleaning or deadlifting anymore, but front squatting and benching and back and things like that.
Do your guys clean? I know that's kind of a
They do.
hot button topic in the strength and conditioning world, but do you guys clean?
They do. They do.
What's the
They do.
protocol for that? Lighter weight, or how are you guys handling? I mean, it's a technical lift. I think that's where people kind of get sideways on it. It's an extremely technical lift. So how are you kind of breaking? How's your strength coach kind of breaking cleans down for your guys?
A lot of it is originally based off body weight. Obviously, in the fall, there's a lot of really really light weights, especially early, to make sure just that technique is down and really just building gradually off that. Not throwing 25s on and say, okay, I'm good here. Here's 45-pound plates on the end now. Really just getting that form down, and they'll clean twice a week.
How soon are you guys lifting and when they get on campus in the fall?
We'll give them that first week, just to get adjusted, find out where their classes are, get where they need to be on time. And then that second week, we'll begin baseball activities, lift. We'll have our first team meeting, and get baseball going. Typically that third week.
All right, sir. What are some final thoughts or something I should have asked you that I didn't?
Oh man, Ryan, you've done a great job. I would say hmm, I'll be honest, Ryan. I think you did great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
you know,
go ahead.
what are your thoughts about the convention?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You know, Getting a chance to be around obviously other like-minded people, is always great. One of the things I say, typically, you're only around a group of 4 to 5 thousand like-minded people in college, right? Everyone's there to get a degree, everyone's there to try to get a job. But the convention is special because it's 4 to 5 thousand people who are all there for baseball. And so getting a chance to make connections with people and learn from guys. Getting a chance to hear Coach Pollock at Presbyterian talk about hitting, and some of the things that they do. There are always things that I'm taking from different guys, and really just trying to improve what it is that we do. So that part of the convention is great. It's second to none.
All right, Julius, thanks for your time. Good luck this weekend. That's a good tournament. You got Long Beach, East
Thank you, Ryan.
Carolina.
I
I think
appreciate
IU's
it.
there, so it's good. Go get after those teams this weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yep.